Okay. Sorry about that, folks. When did we cut off there? I was glancing at the chat here, and I don't know. I was right as I was just concluding my truck series discussion there. Did any of the truck series stuff get in, or did we lose that altogether? I'll post this in the YouTube feed too. Maybe I should do that. Let's see. Yeah, gosh, I hope I didn't go 15 minutes without noticing. Sorry about that, folks. I was sharing some pearls of wisdom here, and I don't think anybody was there for them, so that's okay. We'll just have to figure something out here. All right, there we go. Watkins, Glen. We did have the power go out about 13 laps into the Cup race today. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but perhaps we had some negative effects of that. But we'll put this in here, and we'll have everybody filter in. While everybody filters in, go ahead and let me know where I left off. I don't want to make you guys listen to the same stuff over again here. Last words were how large the track is. Oh, God. Oh, that's a long time ago. I probably talked for about 15 minutes after that. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We will adjust. Because, yeah, I was talking too long about the spotter thing anyway. I kind of repeated myself, and then I kind of went into the truck series at that point. We'll jump into the truck series again here, and then we'll do that. Yeah, I think I got the super chats on my mini feed here, Beast of Metal, but thank you. I'll definitely make sure to read those. I don't want to miss those on here. I think I got 2 from that. That's what I have here. Go ahead and verify that, Beast of Metal, if you have any issues there. Talk about the spotters of the track. Okay, I think I pretty much said my piece on the spotter thing, so I'll just move on. And yes, we'll jump into the truck series thing. So, okay, yeah, I think my transition was I was talking about how well Adam Alexander handled the broadcast of what happened with Connor Zilic during his fall in victory lane there in the Xfinity race, and I thought he did a great job with that. I wanted to reiterate that. So I did mention that. I think that was after the discussion of the size of the track. And at the same time, 3 super chat. Okay, yeah, definitely send me screenshots, Beast of Metal, if you can. You can send it to my Twitter DM or Gmail or something like that, whatever works. If you need contact information, just let me know. Yeah, thank you for taking that on. So yeah, I was kind of talking about that to kind of transition to the truck series because the truck series broadcast was pretty lacking again. I listened to the radio for the first part of it because I was coming off work at the time, and then watched the closing part of the race there on TV afterwards. But yeah, again, I thought the race was pretty intense. Kyle Busch ends up with your last place finisher in that one. Not his first last place run in trucks, be the second of his career for the second straight year. His 5-race stint in the truck series concludes with a last place finish. At Darlington was the same deal last year. William Lambrose, Caden Honeycutt, Jack Wood, and Raja Caruth complete your bottom 5. Caruth actually was your last place runner for most of the race. Missed the start of the event due to a brake issue, sending him immediately behind the wall right as the race started. Put him behind the wall for, I believe, about 20 laps or so. Came back out there and climbed all the way to 32nd. Couldn't quite catch Parker Kligerman, who had suspension issues of his own. This is a very emotional race for Kligerman and the Henderson team, the first race since Charlie Henderson's passing earlier this year, he being the team owner of the number 75 team. But Raja getting up to the 32nd spot there by the finish, not the kind of day he would have wanted, but not finishing in last place at the same time. Kyle Busch being your last place runner on that. Early mechanical issues as well for William Lambrose and Caden Honeycutt. Jack Wood with a serious crash entering the S's there for him in the 33rd spot. Other drivers looking to make their first starts, or first of very few starts here. Gian Buffamonte making his debut in the number 22 for the Josh Room team there, finishing in the 25th spot, barely avoided involvement in the Jack Wood accident in the S's. So good to see him finish the race under power, though a few laps down. Derek White, congratulations to him. Again, very rare to see Carl Long in the Truck Series. Indeed, they came back out this year with, I believe, Tyler Thomasy back at Pocono, and finished the race on the lead lap. In this case here, finished on the lead lap again, even with Derek White, who himself was flagged off the track for not maintaining minimum speed back when he returned to the series at North Wilkesboro earlier this year. But good to see White have a good run out there in the number 69 truck, the OCR Gasbar Ford. So good effort for him. The other driver I was very impressed with, and I mentioned this more on the earlier stream here, Wesley Slimp. Fantastic run for Wesley. I don't know if his name ever got mentioned in the broadcast there. Driving the second truck for the Halmar Friesen team, which of course is reeling from the serious injuries suffered by Stuart Friesen in the big block modified race in Quebec a couple weeks ago there. Wesley made his Truck Series debut at Lime Rock earlier this year. His primary truck caught on fire, had to bail out of it on pit road. Team had to scrap together their backup truck out there and get him back out. Had a pretty rough race from there as Corey Heim just utterly dominated that event. Wesley comes back in his own paint scheme again for this race. Number 12 position was where he finished there in the number 62 truck. Finishing in the 12th spot there was a fantastic run for him on a great day for the Halmar team as well. Christopher Bell nearly winning the race there before running out of fuel and having to kind of rally back there at the end, finishing in the 4th spot there. But all this coinciding with the news of Stewart returning home from surgery and beginning his physical rehabilitation there to hopefully get back to the driver's seat sooner rather than later, although I'm sure the time frame for that is still very much being determined still. So we'll find out if that's the case there too. So, again, kudos to the team for rallying there. Daniel Hemrick looked very good at the end, as did Giovanni Ruggiero. Giovanni finishing in the 3rd spot there. Hemrick in 2nd, although he almost seemed to catch Corey Heim. Truck was just kind of sputtering there coming out of the S's, and that seemed to be the difference there. Heim ends up being your race winner there at the same time. A solid race, although it did get chaotic at the end. It was messy with all those late race restarts. How many times have we seen it? Where it's just restart after restart over and over again, double and triple overtime. And the broadcast booth sounded utterly uninterested in what was happening. It sounded like they had other plans coming up there that the delay of the race was kind of making them late for. I kind of got that feeling from the late race restarts, like, oh, it's another one. It's like, well, you can't have that attitude, especially when, you're broadcasting one of these races. They had the same problem they always do, where they always kept talking about how exciting it was instead of showing us. The show don't tell lesson is definitely not part of the FS1 booth's credo right now. I don't know why that's the case, but it's really unfortunate. But again, Corey Heim storming to another victory, leading 44 of the 81 laps and pulling off the victory. But again, Kyle Busch with his 2nd last place finish of his Truck Series career, his first of the season. So that keeps things where they are too. Caden Honeycutt and driving for the Halmar team the rest of this year, I think is very exciting. I was kind of mentioning this right before I realized the stream wasn't working here. I'm very excited about this in these next couple of weeks here and what's going to be happening at Richmond and going forward. I'm not big on playoff storylines there, but yeah, if he wins the race at Richmond or points his way in well enough to get up there, yeah, that's going to be really exciting to see. I do think that him being in the Hallmark entry is probably the best ride he's ever had. Caden Honeycutt, I would say, is still probably the best driver in the field that has not yet won a race. Giovanni Ruggiero would probably have something to say about that. Maybe some others here at the same time. But again, I think he's doing a fine job out there. He's been very, very close with the Nice team. I don't blame the bad blood, that people have about the 45 team, especially releasing him this close to the playoffs. Even if they did get word about him switching manufacturers and stuff the next year, it seems like there could have been a better way of handling that. But again, it's a business. There are these business decisions And they're not always the popular decisions, but sometimes that's just how it plays out there too. So an unfortunate deal there for Caden, but a tremendous opportunity for him as well. And if the rumored deal of him going to Tricon turns out to be true, that's certainly going to be also an improvement on the efforts that he's driven for in the past. And I think he should be punching his ticket for his first Truck Series win. Now, if that results in the playoffs, or he ends up in a situation like we saw with Lane Riggs last year, where he finally got his first win after he'd already been eliminated from the playoffs, we'll find out if that's going to be the case or not. But I'm very excited for what's coming up there with Caden. I think he could potentially really take off this year. And the last thing I was mentioning before I ended the first part of the stream there, when it had cut off, is just, how in NASCAR history, when you had much longer seasons, it used to be common for drivers to drive for different teams because no team could field cars for that many races. Joe Weatherly among the drivers that would run for different teams to kind of cobble together a season. And even back then, you had a lot of drivers that didn't even run all the races because they were just either they had direct conflicts or they'd be on other ends of the country or whatever the deal was. But, a lot of times the champion was the driver who did start the most races, although there were some exceptions to that later on in the sports history too. Regardless, congratulations to Corey Heim for the victory. Kyle Busch, your last place finisher. Great runs for Wesley Slimp and Derek White. And again, Caden Honeycutt's going to be really exciting this stretch run here. So that's mostly what I have in the Truck Series deal there too. So let's see here. Yeah, Suarez is still in the 99. Did I say that he wasn't? He still is, yeah. We'll see what the deal is coming up here at the same time, too, so we'll find out. That, I think, is mostly what I have on the side here. Again, the J-Ski results do indicate Kyle Larson, your last place finisher, not even classifying Connor Zilich in the results, which is very different from past did not starts here. Let's see, does Racing Reference have it? Because usually they add did not starts on their results. Indeed, some of their classic ones. They have not. I do not see it here as well. So this is going to still depend on that. I don't know if I need to do two different articles or, simply just have, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it like I do with a disqualification. I am seeing from the results here and also from on social media that we do have a call that Shane Van Gisbergen has locked up the win here. He has passed post-race inspection, so we don't need to worry about a further complication in that sense. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put in the same statistics if it was the 87, but still have it be a Kyle Larson article. Certainly don't want to exclude what happened in the race itself entirely. But that'll probably be the story there too. Kyle Larson's story ends up being kind of short anyway, given how things play out. Excuse me. I don't know what's got me tired. I must have been walking in the Fox booth here or something. So I do know I do have Badger here, Last Dog here, just off camera, and that's probably it. He will put you in the sleeper hold in no time flat. So that's the case. So we will jump into trivia here as well. I do want to catch up on the super chats. Thank you, Beast Metal, for the thumbnails. I do have those here, I believe. Let me check. Yes, I do see them here. Okay, no, excellent. Thank you. So we will jump in all those and get that wrapped up here too. Okay, yeah, I think that's all of them. Okay, good. I don't want to make sure I miss any of those there too. Alrighty, folks. So we will do, I don't really have anything for show and tell. I brought out the Zilich shirt here today, the KOA deal for him, to fly the colors for sure. And we'll do some trivia questions here to wrap up the show for this evening. So thank you for staying tuned here on a bit of a longer show here this evening. But we will go back to our late 90s trivia machine here and do some questions to wrap things up here at the same time. So NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Those are your categories. Once again, NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Go ahead and mention in the chat which ones you like. We'll do a couple questions for whichever one gets the most votes, and we'll go from there. I do want to talk about, I didn't talk about the Kenny Irwin video yet, in the first part there, so we'll touch on that and find out what we have here with this. Alrighty. So first of all, let me get into the super chats while everybody is voting here. And again, thank you, Beast of Metal, for the the screenshot. Excuse me. So again, first question here, Michael Jensen, thank you for your super chat for $5 on here. How did Steve Letarte win any races as a crew chief? He said all race, they could only go 30 to 31 laps on fuel. Most of the field went 35 to 40 on the last run. Very good question. I was also wondering like how he said like, oh, there's no other way you can interpret it. Definitely Ty Gibbs got into John Hunter Nemechek, just wrecked him, even though Nemechek just came across his nose. Like, look, I pull for John Hunter, and I still think that was kind of his fault in that case. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that, Michael. That was surprising. Very much a continuation of what we saw in Iowa last week, isn't it? Where supposedly everybody's running out of fuel, and Byron's going to run out of fuel, and it's going to be so crazy. It's so crazy. You got to believe me, guys. And then, yeah, he's got enough fuel to finish the race and do burnouts and make it to victory lane and so on and so forth. I don't know. I don't know if he just lost track of the strategy or what, but kind of a bizarre deal. Did we see Letarte there at the track, or was he on pit road? It was just Jeff Burton with Lee Diffie in the booth at the start of it there. I don't know if he got phased in or not, but it sounded like I was hearing him towards the end of it. But yeah, as to the end of the race there, I don't know if anybody was visibly going slower or anything. I wasn't really tracking the lap times. Maybe that changed things. I don't see if it would change things that much, especially 4 laps on a road course. Wasn't too long ago we saw Chase Elliott run afoul of that, running out of fuel in the chicane there on the back straightaway. But yeah, I'll just chalk that one up to I don't know, maybe he didn't have the right numbers in front of him there, or somebody else grabbed the calculator. I have no idea, but that seemed to be the case there too. Let's see. Bowser Jr. XD, thank you for your super chat here as well for $4.99. Trackhouse reminds me of Morgan McClure. Not only are their win numbers similar, but they also have dominance on specific track types for about less than 50% of their wins. Yeah, no, it's a fair comparison. Morgan McClure, of course, I mean, they had very much limited experience as a multi-car team, mostly just running that primary car, than the number 4, although they did do some secondary cars, Indianapolis and Watkins Glen, especially when they were sponsored by Kodak, since they're based up in upstate New York. So they had some extra funding to kind of work with there a couple of times. I believe 2003, when they were running the Pontiac, I seem to recall them running second cars. But you're right that they do seem to specialize at certain tracks. And it seems to be these days that the best drivers in the circuit are pretty much threats everywhere. You got some guys kind of like Denny Hamlin that are, hinky about the road courses. You got other guys like Shane Van Gisbergen that are very, very good at the road courses and struggling at the ovals. But then you got other guys like Christopher Bell that are more the norm, that they seem like they're pretty much capable of putting that car up there, whatever the track is. And that's becoming more and more common. But that's talking of drivers. You're mentioning teams. Yeah, I think it could be argued, because there's sometimes the Trackhouse seems very, very mortal, like they're not going to be a factor at all. But then other times they figure it out, and when they do, they're just untouchable. I mean, it was mentioned there with Van Gisbergen today. People just couldn't get up there to get him. And that may well be a good comparison. So thank you for mentioning that as well. And thank you for your other super chat here as well, Bowser Jr. XD for $4.99. IndyCar just wrapped up. Alex Palou wins his 4th title and 3rd in a row. First time a driver has won 3 in a row since Franchitti, which was also for Chip Ganassi Racing. So again, thank you for the super chat and the mention on that there as well. Late breaking IndyCar news there. I almost thought of doing this stream after the IndyCar race, but it looked like they had a lot of the distance still to run. So I wanted to make sure to kind of keep that fresh here at the same time. Let's see here. I think that's caught up on super chats there. So thank you again, folks, on that. I do apologize that we had to reboot the stream, but doesn't happen too often, but sometimes does. That's just the way it kind of plays out here at the same time. Let me get the first trivia question. What category do we have? Looks like I see a few for tracks Is tracks the category there? Go ahead and let me know, Beast of Metal or somebody else in the chat. Let me know which category has the most votes. And while that's happening, I'll go ahead and talk about the Kenny Irwin video here as well. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for checking out that video this week. This one took a lot of work. I actually had to rewrite the opening of the Kenny Irwin video when it had some late research come through. But I'm glad it did, because I would have got a lot of stuff wrong at the very beginning of it there. So I'm glad that got polished up there and getting that set up there too. But yeah, Kenny Irwin's a figure that, it's always been interesting to me. I started kind of following the sport year to year, week to week in like 98, 99 when he came up in the Cup Series. And as much as I knew about Ernie Irvan driving for Yates, seeing him in the car there and somebody else in there, I was just kind of rolling with it. Yeah, I mean, he struggled a lot driving for Robert Yates and had some issues getting up to speed, was used to a very different kind of racecraft. And we've seen that with other drivers before too, drivers coming up from USAC. Everybody thinking that they're the next Jeff Gordon, but Jeff Gordon was very exceptional in that case. And what ways he prepared for it before he got that Hendrick ride was very different than Irwin's experience. Indeed, not even really starting a Busch Series race, I thought was pretty eye-opening in that sense too, but also a very sympathetic character. And through the eyes of Eric, the Irwin fan that reached out to me there, shared pictures of his collection with me and some stories and memories of his. We did that interview back in May. We'd been meaning to touch base. We've been talking for many years. I met him on eBay, actually, when he was selling some of his collection there. And he was like, we really need to make sure we do an interview one of these days, because he actually met him firsthand from way back in the Truck Series days. And I'm glad we got that done. And then at that point there, it's like, well, it'd be great to make a video with this. And that was kind of the starting point there. Indeed, I did do 3 Before February, which featured Irwin's story in it. But I feel like of the 3 drivers featured in it, I actually didn't talk about Irwin as much. Excuse me, didn't want to harsh the mic there. Allergy is still in full swing here at the same time. But I'm glad to be able to use Eric's interview in the Irwin video, because he gave a great discussion of just like what he was like as a person. Irwin always seemed to kind of be a driver to me that felt like somebody that always had a lot on his mind. And I think I mentioned it on the show here before that he was actually the first driver I ever wanted to interview. And unfortunately didn't get that chance. It was still when I was very young and I was still in high school at the time. Didn't really have any inkling of doing any work in, interviewing drivers and so forth. And indeed, the other person I interviewed in this project had a very similar background. Marty Smith, whose quotes will come up in part 2 that comes up this Tuesday, shared with me his memories of being a very new reporter with NASCAR.com, and Irwin, doing an interview with Irwin and why he wanted to talk with him and learn more about his story. And ultimately that story coming about right before what turned out to be his last race going into New Hampshire in July of 2000. Ended up providing a very interesting view of where things stood going into that tragic weekend at New Hampshire that season. And this will be part of course, the story in the video coming up this Tuesday. And that will be airing on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So those of you who want to check it out, we did the first part just releasing it on YouTube. The second part is going to be a premiere. So I'll be in the chat there that evening. And we can talk about the video from there as well and check that out. But an interesting figure, certainly a tragic figure at the same time for the way his career ended. I do discuss much more about maybe, what could have happened, what could have been at the same time, and really try to kind of break down the story of his career at the same time. I think that when I really started kind of looking into this project, it was eye-opening to me just, again, how, a driver could be, really anticipated getting into the sport and the challenges they face, out there and how quickly things can change in that sense. There was definitely a trajectory into, how much coverage he was receiving at the beginning of his career versus those latter couple of years, both newspaper articles and also just coverage during the races themselves. There is some overlap, of course, with 3 Before February in that respect, but I try not to repeat too many clips from that in a way and try to kind of put them in a present them with, like, he was very down to earth, both Marty Smith and Eric were very open about, that their experience getting to meet him there. And I hope that that comes across in this. I've been very pleased with the response so far. Hopefully people keep sharing the links so that maybe the algorithm picks it up here and more people can learn about Kenny's story. I found it very compelling. And I think this next part is going to be very interesting. And it's not entirely about, of course, what happened at New Hampshire. It's very much about, where Tony Stewart fit in his career. And you already see that in the first part of this video here when they're competing against each other in USAC. But then when it gets to a point where they're competing against each other in the Cup Series, it's very interesting as well. And what was happening behind the scenes and, where these teams were heading into the 2000 season. It's very much about that at the same time. So big thanks to both Eric and Marty for their interviews. Big thanks to Brian Hallman at the BRH Racing Archives for the pictures and material that were provided there as well. Again, I think it was a very interesting story. Ended up being a much larger project than I first anticipated back in May and June when I was starting it. But I think it'll be something that you definitely want to check out. And if you can't wait till Tuesday, if you're in the patreon.com/lastcaronbrock, those of you in the $5 and up levels can have access to part 2 and watch it either after the show here tonight or going forward there as well. And I did put some new stickers in the store as well. Those big thanks to Bruno Raphael, he of the Comics by Bruno page there on Twitter, did a wonderful render of the number 42 Bell South car, and I produced some stickers of that there as well. So if you're interested in that, I have those for bundles there on the eBay page there as well. You can check that out at the same time. So we'll have that all coming up for you very soon. This Tuesday will be the video. Part 2 will go live, and we'll go from there as well. So from there, I see that tracks is the top category. So we'll go ahead and do a couple tracks questions to wrap up the show for this evening. Alrighty. And okay, this actually follows the Kenny Irwin video pretty well. Who was the winner of the 1996 Brickyard 400? And don't look it up, but if you've seen the Irwin video, you do know the answer to this one. Who was the winner of the 1996 Brickyard 400? I was about to give away the answer, but I'll wait on that there too. But I do have some thoughts on that at the same time. Who was the winner of the 1996 Brickyard 400? That is the question. We'll keep that there. Alrighty. Who was the winner of the 1996 Brickyard 400? The race where Kyle Petty had that brutal crash off turn 4. Yes, Bluegrass, that's correct. That was a crazy one. Alrighty. Got a lot of guesses for Dale Jarrett. Indeed, the answer is Dale Jarrett. And that's the other big figure in this story because, of course, Jarrett was Irwin's teammate at Robert Yates Racing. And we see the beginnings of kind of this story in part 1. But in part 2, it's very much more. And again, and I don't want to make it seem like, there was anything bad about like Jarrett or Stewart being very successful in their Cup careers in the late 90s. It's just the nature of the sport. I think that was kind of the thing that was going on. Kenny Irwin was on very much a different track, trying to develop his career, maybe in the long term, really becoming a bigger success, but he wasn't at the same phase of his career as Jarrett or even Stewart were. Stewart with his experience in IndyCar and in the Busch Series and getting this and developing this brand new team entirely around him over at Joe Gibbs Racing was a very different arrangement. A team that had no legacy. The 20 Home Depot car, you see the 20B as much of a fixture today as Christopher Bell's ride and all that. None of that existed back then. And indeed, Joe Gibbs was still looking for their first championship back then. It just so happens that, it's a very difficult sport. And it's the upper echelon of NASCAR, as we all know. A driver that kind of finds themselves in this situation where they're not in the same position. They're trying to kind of figure things out and get up to that level, but they're just not there yet. And how much time does it take? Or is this the best sport for you at the same time? Would it have been better if he was in IndyCar? Would it have been better if he stayed in USAC? These are all the questions. And, kind of it's very much interwoven with the story of like Jarrett and Stewart's career in particular. So you'll see this much more in part 2. You saw the beginnings of it in part 1, but it's definitely much more a part in the second part of the video there, which I wanted to kind of make the emphasis of the story there too. So we'll see on that. And indeed, and it kind of goes back to Ernie Irvin's deal too, because of course, Irvin had been driving the 28 car, came back from his injury. Jarrett was his replacement, and then kind of took that second team that Irvin had driven for when they still had Jarrett under contract and just made it his own, and then it becomes the flagship car. Indeed, Robert Yates in that Texaco car may be more iconic, and indeed had so many runs where they looked like they were going to be surely going for a championship, and yet the 88 car ultimately doing that later on. It's interesting. It's interesting to see where these stories play out and how that actually had an effect on people's careers, the good and the bad, and that's very much a story of that. Let's see here. Next question here. Who was the only repeat winner in the first 10 years of racing at Phoenix? I'm going to go with Cup Series ones here, I would assume. Who was the only repeat Cup winner in the first 10 years of Cup racing at Phoenix? It does say Cup. Okay, good. I thought it missed that modifier in there. So I'll read that again. Who was the only repeat winner in the first 10 years of Cup racing at Phoenix? Don't look it up. Try to guess it there too. Alrighty. I guess this is for Davey Allison and Kulwicki and Rusty Wallace. That's a tricky one. Who was the only repeat winner in the first 10 years of Cup racing at Phoenix? The only repeat winner. How you doing down here? Got Badger crashed out down here. Let's see if you can. I can't really move the camera close enough here. I got it on a tripod. I don't want to just knock it over. You okay, buddy? Let's see if he wants to say hi. You want to say hi, buddy? Oh, he's pretty. He's pretty out. Silly dog. There you go. There you go. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get here. Who was the only repeat winner in the first 10 years of Cup racing at Phoenix? The answer is Davey Allison. Davey Allison. A number of you got that one there. Andrew Bremner, you were the first one to it. Glen 7000. Bluegrass Rail fan. Indeed, Davey does sound right, and it is indeed correct. Indeed correct. Alrighty. Let's see. Not that one. No, not that one. Ooh, here's a good one. Here we go, folks. What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? I'm going to assume this is Cup racing again. It does not have the modifier this time. What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? That is the question. Oh, Okay, I gotta pick up the dog now. He's kind of sliding off my lap here. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta get you. I gotta get you. Oh, gosh. Ah. Ah. Okay, this guy's my upper arm workout. There you are. There you are. There you go. Oh, gosh. He is. See, he just loves to sleep up. And he just lays here like a roast chicken. There you go. Okay. Okay, you're good. You're good. Oh, gosh, his eyes are just half open right now. He is completely zonked. Let me get you back down the blanket. There you go, buddy. Yeah, he is putting me to sleep. Alrighty. Let's get you down there. Let's get you down there. There you go. There you go. There you go. Alrighty. Alrighty. Thank you, Marcus. All right, let's get that question back here. What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? Oh, now he's awake. You can see, oh, you can see the ears there. There you go, buddy. There you go. What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? I guess it's for Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte. Yep, tech is complete. Thank you, Jude Fernandez. We are wrapped up on that. And it looks like it's going to be a Larson article because they are not classifying Zilich, which is interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, no, still shows it that way on this page. Bizarre. Alrighty. What driver finished second at Rockingham 4 straight times beginning in 1995? The answer is Dale Jarrett. How about that? Their DJ question. Dale Jarrett is the correct answer. Beanboy 89, were you the first one to get that? Unless that was back to the Phoenix question. There we go. Dale Jarrett's the correct answer. Alrighty. No, not that one. How about this? Here we go. What year did ground clearing begin on Daytona International Speedway? What year did ground clearing begin on Daytona International Speedway? I gotta check my notes here again. I'm sure I had a couple notes here this week. Doot. No, not that one. Oh, by the way, kudos to Kyle Larson. Again, did finish last in the race today, pending if they added Zilich or not, but still looks like they're just classifying him last in the race in general. But I appreciate Larson agreeing with me almost to the letter about Talladega Nights, about turning the sport into a joke. And I loved it that the exact same people came out to give him a bunch of crap about that, just like they did with me. It's like, oh, Larson, you don't know what a comedy is. It's like, you're really going to trot that one back out there again. Like, come on. But I love it. I was like, where did he get this idea? Where did he get that idea from? It's like, oh, yeah. I mean, I can't really take full credit for it either, I guess, because I saw, what was it? It was, I think Brian had it even earlier. Brian Murphy had it a couple of years before I did. But, I mean, my message in June was almost the exact same wording as Larson's, which I thought was funny. And it's like, yep, yeah, I don't like how it turned the sport into a joke either. It's like, oh, okay, wow. The timing. For those of you following my third channel, you may recall the video that I did on the SS United States and the fact that the famous ocean liner that is being sunk as an artificial reef, This past week ended up being a bit of a sad moment in that whole progression there, because the last lawsuit that had been attempting to keep the ship in one piece ultimately was thrown out, and so the funnels of the ship were cut off, and they're now preparing the ship to be sunk off the coast of Okaloosa, Florida, as the plan was initially. They're putting together a nice little museum or something with over on the shore there, but yeah, I don't know. It still stinks to just lose such a piece of history in that sense. So unfortunately, that's still been moving forward there. I know it's been a while since I had the initial announcement there. There had been a suit that was holding things up and really trying to kind of keep things going, but unfortunately, things just have not worked out that direction there. So that's the latest part of that story. What year did ground clearing begin on Daytona International Speedway? The answer is indeed 1957. 57. Several people got that one correct. I saw a lot of 57s on here. Glen 7000. Bluegrass Rail fan. Beast of Metal. Charles Peterson. Willie B. Jude Fernandez. Oh, Labrador Retrievers. That's great, Marcus. Right on. Beast Metal, yeah, I get you. Oh, there you go. But no, that was refreshing. The Larson thing this week was interesting. So, and then Byron chimes in on it too. He's like, "Yeah, I'm with you too." There we are. Let's see. Oh, I want to congratulate Bill Mayers as well, crewman on Jeb Burton's team there in the Xfinity Series. His son won his first race in a local division. What was the division there? I think it was Bandoleros, or where was it there? Feature winner at Hickory Motor Speedway there, running cars out there. Where was it? Advanced Weekly Series, late models, divisions out there. But yeah, actually had a good run out there. He's been running races there, I think, for last year. I know they had an event over at Charlotte running those like scaled down cars out there. So yeah, Bill, congratulations to your son again on the victory victory out there at Hickory. That's a track that started many careers, many careers. You got a lot of names and stuff that are put on that wall that went on to tremendous things out there. That's all a part of it. Let's see. Oh, I didn't read the next question. I'll do one more question here. Who made a record 25 straight starts at the Die Hard 500? Who made a record 25 straight starts at the Die Hard 500? Jude Fernandez asking me about the hot dog part of it. Yeah, that's true. Kyle Larson, it seems like he's getting more criticism for that than the Talladega Nights thing, which I think is interesting. I've never tried a Martinsville hot dog, so I can't comment on that. They could be great. They could be horrible. I don't know. But I'm glad that they still use like the same company they wanted to make. Like, I know there was a couple of years where they used a different company and everybody hated that. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to try it. I never have. One of these days we're going to make our way out to Martinsville, and you better believe that's going to be on the list there of checking it out. So we'll do that one of these days. But yeah, I can't say whether I support Larson on that or not. We got a lot of guesses for Dave Marcus. Let's see. Who made a record 25 straight starts at the Die Hard 500? The answer is indeed Dave Marcus. You guys are too good. You guys are too good. You're too good. It's absolutely the story there as well. Alrighty. And I think, yep, that's all the notes I had on. Whoop, hang on, what's this? Oh, no, that's something else. Okay, that's fine. Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's about it for the show here this evening. So, a crazy weekend. I mean, my goodness, we had just a little bit of everything here, and I apologize we had a bit of a breakup on the show here too, but we got the second part of it in here, got the rest of the Truck Series coverage and so forth in there. So we'll go ahead and call that there at the same time. So we will move on with that. So again, condolences to the friends and family members of Robbie Brewer, lost in the accident there at Bowman Gray Stadium the other night. Very relieved to hear that Connor Zilic is doing okay, and wishing him, as well as Stuart Friesen, both speedy recoveries after their injuries the last couple of weeks. Hopefully this is going to be a less of a storyline going forward here, and we can see the drivers continue to do what they do best out there, competing as best they can in NASCAR's top 3 divisions here, and we'll be talking about it on the show here going forward. So in the meantime, Patreon is patreon.com/LascarOnBrock. Part 2 of the story of Kenny Irwin Jr. is going to be coming out this Tuesday, the August 12th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, here on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed so you can be able to check that out. I'll be part of the chat that evening for that video. If you want to check out my Twitter feed, it's at LascarOnBrock. If we'll find out who the next person is, it's going to say that Talladega Nights turned the sport into a joke. We'll find out if that's who that's going to be. These things always seem to happen in threes, don't they? And in the meantime, we will be back on this show next week. I guess it'll be a night race, right, for Richmond. So we're going to be talking about the, the Truck Series and the Cup Series here on that, and looking forward to Daytona the week after. So it should be a packed show here as well, and feel free to tune in on this as well here for you guys. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and bearing with me here, and we'll see you all next time.